Hello, Patriots. I'm John Dady, your host of Patriots Unite. Well, never a shortage of things to talk about. Just always, where do I begin? So let's talk about the Biden administration not being happy that a district court told the government to stop pressuring or otherwise requiring media outlets to censor certain subjects, certain comments, certain people, any of us on the internet. Millions have been censored. Hundreds of millions of posts have been censored the last few years because we disagree with what the Biden thuggery administration is saying and doing. Well, they think that they should have the right to censor free speech. That is unconstitutional. They do not have the right to directly or to indirectly censor free speech. Biden administration doesn't care. On the student loan things, the Supreme Court, a couple weeks ago, said no, the president doesn't have the authority to do that on his own. It has to take an act of Congress. He doesn't care. The other day, he said he's going to forgive $39 billion worth of school debt on some other thing that he made up. He just thumbs his nose at the rule of law. Oh, wait, he can because it doesn't apply to him. So I don't know what the justices at the Supreme Court are thinking about this guy. I'm pretty sure 5 or 6 of them are wondering, when is he going to be 25th Amendmented? Never. When is anybody going to impeach him? Never, because the Senate will never vote in favor of it because they approve of everything that this bought paid for man has been doing. Then, of course, the other night on a speech, if you can call baby talk a speech, he reveals what a lot of us already knew because I follow all kinds of things, that we're running low on munitions. Yeah, that's been an issue for a while now. Now the whole damn world knows it. So if China didn't already know it, they do now. Now, if I'm China and I know I got my boy in the White House, in fact, his whole administration I own, I'm going to take that as a cue from him, from Biden, that it's okay now to go into Taiwan. Because the United States is in no position to get into a war with China. Biden has spent down 2/3 of our strategic reserve petroleum stockpiles, which is for an emergency, such as war. It was not to be used to help artificially lower gasoline prices 2 or 3 cents a gallon, which millions and millions of you idiots fell for. So we're really in a big, bad situation here. Our munitions are spent down just dangerously low. Not just the ammo, but our javelins and our stingers. And of course, the munitions are your 120s, your 155, 150 millimeters, all that type of stuff that you launch at the other guys, or cannons, for example. So it takes years to replace these things. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not like an assembly line at General Motors or Ford where you're cranking out one vehicle every hour. You're not creating the munitions every hour. It doesn't work that way. China, of course, knows this. So they could literally go into Taiwan right now. I would hope and pray that Taiwan puts up a fight because, from what I understand, they have some pretty damn good defensive equipment and training complements of us. Unless, of course, they know that the Biden administration is going to do nothing to help them. But old Joy can say, Joe, all he has to do is say, well, folks, we can't stop China from going into Taiwan because we don't have enough reserves in our petroleum reserves. And we don't have enough ammunition to fight a protracted war. And now if I'd have known this was coming, wink, wink, I wouldn't have done these things. And of course he knew that this would happen. So flip a coin. If I'm China and I know I got my boy in the White House, and now my boy in the White House just admitted the whole world that he's low on certain munitions, and artillery, offensive weapons and defensive, I'm going to be like, hey, I got your oil reserves are down from what 900 million barrels plus to 350 million barrels. So he just walked right into Taiwan. We are so damn vulnerable right now, and either you all don't know it, or you know it and you don't care. Either way, puts our entire country in peril. All of us. So folks like me are like ringing the alarm bell. You're not doing anything. You're not answering the call. So these are some really important things that are happening and others that nobody's talking about. Trump had a really good speech the other day. And again, during a speech in Nevada, I don't know if I mentioned this on another podcast, I may have, but it won't hurt to mention it again. He said when he regains the White House, he's going to get a law passed requiring that elections are held on one day. Mr. President, we already have that law. We've had it initially in 1845 and then updated in 1870 something to include the Senate. The Congress has authority to set the date in which federal elections shall be held. They've exercised that authority. And our federal elections are to be held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So we already have that law. That law is not being enforced. Early in-person voting, not legal. Mail-in voting, not legal. It doesn't happen in one day. It has to be on one day. Now, we've always had absentee, usually with excuse, like if you're in the military or you're for American citizen living in another country, or if you're in the hospital or just recovering from surgery, like I've had to do myself, and I may have to do next year too, because I got a lot of surgeries coming up. You can go in, and I have to state why I'm asking to vote early. I have to go to my election precinct, show my ID, and then let them know why I can't be there in person. Nobody's ever had a problem with that a few weeks ahead of time, not a month ahead of time. Not no excuse a month ahead of time, never a month ahead of time. And then, of course, mail-in ballots. There's basically no chain of custody on it. Did you all know, I think it was 3 or 4 days after the election in 2020, at least Pennsylvania was still counting mail-in votes. They weren't counting mail-in votes, people. They were creating mail-in votes, marking Joe Biden for president. Nothing else was marked on those ballots to create the win for Biden. They cheated in so many different ways. We don't even need to talk about the machines. We saw what was being done on the Edison updates, which is that crawl underneath the screen that updates the totals. You can find all this online. I watched it as it was happening that night because I'm just a freak about watching this stuff. Votes were literally being taken away from President Trump and given to Joe Biden. His total was going down, people. Why this is not used as exhibit number 1 against these people is beyond me. They did it right in front of you. Doubt me? Research it. So you had multiple ways in which to make sure that Joe Biden was installed as president. What they were not counting on was Trump getting 11 million more votes than he did the first time. Because, see, that's never happened in the history of the country. Presidents go down 2, 3, 4 million votes on the second time around. They don't go up 11 million. Trump actually received more votes than anybody in the history of the country that night. So, in order to catch Trump, a whole lot of things had to be done. A whole lot of ballots and extended days to count, and excuses, well, we got to count these mail-in ballots, was done in order to create the tens of millions of votes that Biden needed to overcome Trump, I promise you they were figuring not more than 10 or 15 million they'd have to make up, not 35 or 6 million. Again, there was 139 million votes counted that night. Don't believe me? Look it up in the Census Bureau. You want to call somebody a liar? Call them a liar. I'm using their own sets of numbers. President Trump and his team doesn't know about that either. President Trump and his team does not know that there's already one day for election. Federal law states and federal government that Congress can create laws where it pertains to their federal elections. States have a lot of control about how they handle their elections. True. But Congress determines when those elections are to be held on the federal level. They did that 150 years ago. That law's not being enforced. I see no reason why they're going to enforce it again this time around. How can they enforce it? 99% of the people that I've talked to, no, let's be honest, 100% of the people, I've talked to a couple of attorneys about this, didn't even know there was such a law and were doubting me when I told them. So I said, just Google why our election day is held on this date, first Tuesday after first Monday. No shortage of information. You'll educate yourselves. Then you'll know what I know. Then you'll know what President Trump and his team don't know. And then you have to be scratching your head. How come the hell you don't know that? I think I had the answer to that. Most people take things for granted. Well, we just do this because it's been traditional. No, we didn't used to vote on one day. Originally, we had like 6 weeks to vote. That was our voting period, about 6 weeks. That had to be changed because, 1845 communications were better, quicker, more accurate. So the states who were voting early, the states who hadn't voted, they already knew what was going on in the states that had voted. So that was kind of a form of voter interference or suppression. It's like you're living in one state and you're like, well, we haven't voted yet, but hey, Joe Blow over here is kicking our butt. Why should I even bother? So that had to go. Had every reason to change that and put it on one day. And what I would add to this federal law is keep the one day, but all federal votes must be cast on a paper ballot and hand counted. Period. That's the amendment I'd make to that law. But of course, you'd have to know that there is a law. In fact, my congressman's, one of his top aides were in town at an event a couple months ago, and I talked to him for several minutes. Kind of gave him a PhD education in about 10 minutes. He even told me, like so many other people do, say, John, you just gave me a whole lot of information, digest stuff I've never heard of before. I'm like, I don't know why you haven't heard these things. I don't know why you don't know these things. I'm just a common, what most people would refer to as a low-life person in this country. That's how I've been treated and referred to most of my life because I have no station in life. I know these things. I'm not saying that to be mean about myself. I'm just being honest. So and people tell me I'm wrong for thinking this, but I'm not sure. You tell me. I look at it this way because I am viewed as a lowly person in our country by my fellow man, by my fellow countrymen. I look at it this way. If I know these things and I know them to be true and can prove it, then why don't all of the people who have always looked down upon me, why don't they know these things? That is a valid question. That is a fair question for me to ask all of you who think you're better than everybody else because you have a degree or multiple degrees. Anybody can get a degree in sleepology. Okay? It's not hard to do. Your degree doesn't prove a damn thing to me or most people. You just travel in your own circle, and that's all the people you know. So you're all busy patting each other's back, thinking you're superior, and you don't talk to people like us, like myself. But that just bothers me. He's a top aide to a congressman who's been elected 11 times, who is a rhino, and he does not know the things that I know. Will he do anything with it? Will he educate his boss about it? No, of course they're not going to, because they didn't come across this information themselves. He was taught this information from the likes of me. So, to all you people out there who think you know more, you know everything, you don't. Even President Trump and his team does not know about those two very, very important events. They still don't. I have tried to get the word out. Who am I? I'm a nothing. I'm a nobody. I have no access to the man. People I know who have access to him, they're not sharing. So, don't know why. I've never even asked them why they don't share. Just figured, maybe I don't know. Why would you not share this information with the man and his team? So these are critical things that are going on in this country. You all assume too much. You assume that this person or this person, because of their position, their billions, their millions, their degrees, whatever, know a lot of things. That's not true. No one person knows everything about everything. It's not possible. Okay. No one person is going to take the time to do their own research and due diligence like I do. I don't count on anybody. I don't trust anybody to do that but me. And when I hear something, whether I agree with it or not, I'm going to verify it. I'm going to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. You all may not believe me because, let's be honest, you're hearing this from somebody that has no stature. So how could I possibly know something that you don't? It's a human ego. Mine isn't that big on this thing. It's like I'm here to learn, to share. I can't get it done myself, so I'm sharing the information and praying to God every day the people who can do something about these things do. Now, as far as Patriots Unite, Fisher cut bait, your all's excuses for doing nothing are long over. You're either fishing or you're cutting bait for that fisherman. In other words, you have to do something. Sitting back and watching is not doing something. Sitting back and go, well, Trump will save our ass, isn't doing anything. Think about this. Give me an analogy. Played baseball for a number of years, and I was very good. God gave me a lot of skills on that sport. I was still in high school, and I intended to pursue that as far as it would take me. I never had a team behind me. Not a good team. Never did. Well, I did my level best to help my teammates become better, no matter what it was. Several of them I knew. We were close in the neighborhood, so we'd get together and we would work on skills because I loved the game and I took it seriously and I wanted to be the best. Well, sadly, my team members didn't feel that way. So I was on the wrong team. No matter how many home runs I hit, whether I stole 40 bases in a season or 38, it didn't matter. I didn't brag about it. That's what you do. That's what I'm there to do, is to help the team win. But when I'm looking around and that seemed like, wow, I'm the offense. I am the defense. I'm playing right, left, or center. Had a strong arm and the fastest guy on the team. In fact, the fastest guy in school. So I could run most things down, and yeah, I had a good arm with a laser. And I just did it because I wanted to what? Win. I wanted to be good. I wanted all the people around me to be the best that they could possibly be. They wouldn't do it. The other one coach allowed me to be me. The other three, which was three too many, had people on the team that were their kids and had zero skills at all, but it didn't matter because it was their kids. I wanted to win. I realized that I could not win on that team. I had nowhere else to go. It was breaking my heart to bust my butt every day, doing drills at home, creating drills and exercises for myself that made me be the best at playing baseball. And I was surrounded by a cast of losers. They had no desire to make themselves better. That's how President Trump has got to be feeling. He's the head guy on the team. He's the best one on the team. He's trying to motivate people. I'd do it a little differently, but he's still trying. And what are you doing? You're like my teammates on the baseball team. Well, John will carry us. We don't need to do anything. Until one day John quit because John got tired of carrying the team and being persecuted for being good, being attacked for it by his own teammates. Yeah, they lost their offense and their defense. I know that's how President Trump is feeling right now. He can get a great speech, try to motivate you guys. No sooner the speech is over and you're heading back out to the parking lot in your cars, that's it. You're all done. You think, we're going to get him on election day. All we got to do is vote. Bullshit. Your duties do not begin or end at the ballot box. Never has. So many of you have been fooled into thinking that that's all you have to do is vote or go to a rally once in a while. No. You see, we're supposed to be all on the same team where we all have each other's backs. And you need to be the cutoff man. I never really had a good cutoff man. They may or may not catch the ball, but that their play to wherever it's at, second, third, home, whatever, 9 times out of 10, they couldn't make the throw. So I'd end up having to do it myself if it was within my ability to do so. Trump's the same way. You all are his cutoff man. All of you. He's out here. He's got this ball, and he is throwing it to you all so we can throw it to home plate to strike out the Democrat Party. You're just like my cutoff men I've had. You're not doing your job. Absolutely, you're not doing your job. So if we're going to be a team, it takes a team to stop this monster called communism. Then you need to start acting and organizing and playing like one. No matter how crazy the Democrats are, and they are, they're united. They're organized. They always have a plan. They always have a backup plan. Well, we're just sitting there and half-ass responding, if responding at all, to anything that they do. Where was the outcry when Trump was indicted on these things? No, there was no outrage. None at all. I hope Trump noted that. It's like, wow, my people aren't. Where's my cutoff guys here? Shouldn't they be picking up this ball and doing something with it? No, instead you just watch it lay there on the ground. You're not even picking it up. You're doing nothing. Same way in track. Got to have a good relay guy. And you got to have a really good handoff. Did none of you ever play sports or were even good at playing sports and understood the lesson? That, yeah, I could set the best record in high school for running as fast as I did, but it doesn't mean anything if now we're on a sport, we're doing a relay. We have to work as one and do our best in order for the whole team to win. We're not doing it. You're counting on one man to be your quarterback, your track star, your baseball star, all of it. One man. He needs an active. If it's football, you better have 11 players on the field. Not one, which is Trump. You all got to step up. You all have to unite and organize just like the Democrats do. We end up going communist, and there's a very real possibility we're going to. Y'all have nobody to blame but yourselves. And when your children and grandchildren look at you and say, How come there's nothing to eat? How come you don't have a job? How come I have to go to this camp to be taught to think this way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? How come you let that happen? What are you going to tell them? You were a coward? Because if you're honest, that's what you'd have to say is that you're a coward. You sure as hell weren't a patriot. Now, our founding fathers structured this government to make us in control. We're the boss, not the employee. You all have been taught, brainwashed into believing it's just the opposite relationship, that we're the employee and they're the boss. Then you all have this victim mentality, which, God, I hate it. I really hate it. I've hit that a few times for health reasons and stuff like that, but I get over it. So, I'm perfect. I'm not wealthy. I don't have multiple degrees hanging on my wall, and I've got a lot of health issues right now, but I'm still fighting. So, what's your excuse? Are you all going to continue to use your children and your job as a reason why you're not active, as a reason you're not uniting to stop them? Because we go full communism, your job's going to be the least of your concerns because you're probably not going to have it. And you probably won't have your kids either. Because if you've ever voted for a Republican, they're probably going to take your kids away, put them in an indoctrination camp that they'll call education camps because you didn't raise them right. Don't think it can't happen here. It's happened everywhere else where tyranny and communism is taking place. So, fish or cut bait, or openly admit your allegiance and loyalties to the Democrat Party. Because if you're not helping the fight, you might as well join them. Keeping silent is going to allow the communism. So we have 74 million Trump supporters in name only. Okay, so you're a PINO. You're patriots in name only. You may vote, you may go to rallies, you may send a few bucks in donations, and that's all you do. You're patriots in name only. Thank God our founding fathers weren't patriots in name only. They actually stood up and did something about it. We have the advantage of being the boss of this country. I've told y'all dozens of times, and there's some other people out there with credibility that, us peons don't have, that we have the authority to take our country back. We have the authority to alter or abolish this government. We do. And for me, what I view as abolishing the government is in our documents. Those are great. But to abolish all of our elected officials. In other words, remove them from office. You don't need a vote to do that. Our government has clearly violated its constitutional responsibilities. They have put us at risk as a nation, and they do this willingly. They have you guys fooled. Stop it. So, again, I understand why you're afraid. I don't agree with it. I understand why you're afraid. I've seen a lot of fear in people because the powers that be went after them. I've experienced that personally, and as a founding member of the Tea Party, and yes, there were founding members. It didn't just spring up in a vacuum. I got my IRS audit, and I fought it, and I won. But that IRS audit terrified the vast majority of the Tea Party members, and they just went away. Basically, there's nothing left of that organization. January 6th was another government intimidation job. So people now are afraid to say, okay, well, if we gather and we do XYZ, then they're going to no, they're not. They're going to get tens of millions of you, and I'm not even talking gathering. if you've listened to any of my videos or read any of the things that I write on my websites, we got the Patriots in name only, and also I've got this notion of the lazy Patriots way to defeat tyranny. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm taking your excuses away. Well, John, I don't have time to take off to go X, Y, and Z wherever it is and march and hold signs. And I just don't have time for that. I got my kids to take care of. I got a job to go to. All right. All your objections have been met. That's why I created the lazy Patriots way to defeat tyranny. It's probably what I should call this show. In fact, I may just change it to that. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but some of you are new. As I picked up a lot of followers lately, I appreciate that. Keep spreading the word. The command, control, and communications of any enemy is the first three things you take out in a war. Well, the command, control, and communications of the Democrat Party is the media establishment itself. Much of that media establishment requires you to send them money every month for their subscriptions. So you're literally supporting the organizations that seek to destroy us. The organizations like, or you name it, all the big media conglomerates, satellite, cable, a lot of the pay-per channels. You send them money so they can make obscene programming. And I don't care whether you watch that programming or not. Part of your money goes to, I think they call it a carriage fee, to those shows that are disgusting. Also, their money goes to fund their news organizations that lie about us, lie to their Democrats, lie for the Democrat Party, causes all this hate and division in this country and promotes communism. You pay them to do that. Stop it. It's really easy. This is why I call it the lazy Patriots way to defeat tyranny. You sit in your favorite easy chair, you get on your device, and you just cancel your dish, your DirecTV, your AT&T cell phone bill. And of course, they own DirecTV. And stop sending billions of dollars a month between the tens of millions, 100 million people that send money to those people every month. Just stop it. Just stop it. Put them into financial distress. Even they have a limit of how much money that they can stand to lose. Because then the shareholders going to be raising hell. I don't care how much money BlackRock or Vanguard or State Street or any of those yahoos have in it. They're not a bottomless pit of money either. They have people that they have to answer to. We all do. And in this world, money talks. Shouldn't be that way, but it is. And you keep feeding them with your money. You have no damn excuse not to cancel these things. You can't say, well, I'm too busy. You don't have 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you're slow. You can't get together and millions of us do this in a matter of a few days. So they really feel it, and they feel it right now. I mean, our boycotts against Bud and Target and those places, that's all well and good. We can do that too. But see, they're a symptom of what's been going on in our society. Okay? They're not the cause of it. They're the symptoms. So we need to go after the cause. We need to go after the ringleaders. Some people wonder if the media itself isn't controlling the whole of government. I think it's shared power base between the Democrats, the deep state, and the media, and now, of course, law enforcement, which is deep state, DOJ, all that stuff. So, yeah, we have to fish or cut bait. What happens if they make it impossible for President Trump to win the election. And I'm not talking putting him in jail. I'm talking the ultimate silencing. Don't rule it out. And your silence, your failure to support Trump in mass and be righteously pissed off about all these indictments against him, because they're all bullshit. My cats know it, my dogs know it, and I don't know why people don't. I don't know why our big talkers on the right aren't saying, okay, folks, here's what we need to do. Here's how we hit back. Like what I said, because I know you guys are inherently lazy. I've heard it my whole life. Well, I don't have time, John. I can't do this. I got to do this. You always have excuses. I'll take your damn excuses away from you. That's the most effective, easiest way we can hit them back. I know you haven't thought about it. You don't need to. I already did it. Thought about it for you. Took away all your excuses for not doing something. And if y'all can't get together and unite and do that, and I mean unite by the tens of millions and do this in a matter of days, like I said, not a few here and a few there. No, they need to feel the pain. They need to feel it immediately and in a huge way. That's the effective. It'd be a shock and awe thing. And if you cannot or will not do this one simple thing, what the hell good are you? You're not. I wouldn't want you on my foxhole. I won't want you on my team if I can't count on you to be there with me. And God bless Trump. He keeps going on, knowing that when he looks next to him, there's nobody on either side of him standing with him. You guys aren't even on the same damn field that he's on. You're sitting in the damn bleachers, way up on level 20. Not doing a damn thing. I do what I can as a no account individual. I don't know what white privilege card that they're talking about. I sure as a hell never had one. Unless you count the privilege of working yourself damn near to death as a privilege, then okay. Then I had a white privilege card. So this one I want to talk about tonight is I'm not the only one who's disappointed in the lack of action on our side of the aisle. You keep saying, well, our congressmen or senators do something. No, they're not. First of all, why the hell would they act to do anything that they would view as putting their head in the news when their own damn constituents are keeping silent? Then maybe if several million of you started yelling at them, say, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and we're all on the same page, demanding that, that's the only way they're going to do anything. Again, that's pretty simple to do. But you don't and you won't. You need to ask yourselves, why won't you? I'll answer for you if it's a rhetorical question. You don't say, oh, well, John, it won't do any good. Well, you're right. One phone call won't do any good. 1,000 phone calls won't do any good. 10,000 won't. A couple 100,000 will. Millions most definitely will. Because now your employees is like, shit, they're paying attention. You're going to have to damn well do something. Now, that even goes for you Democrats or for you people who live in a state where or district where you have Democrat representatives and senators. It goes for you all too. Okay, you can still call them because odds are in your state, even though you have Democrat elected senators representatives, odds are you're probably the majority in your state. You just don't know it because you don't act like it and you don't unite. So even in the blue states, do it. Think about it. We turned 3 or 4 senators. We put enough pressure on them to do the right damn thing. Oh my God. The power, the things that we could get done and we have to push the Republicans as well. You see, we're the boss. Act like it. I know most of you have never been a boss in your entire life. I have been. And I'm usually the guy in charge of running stuff. Never got treated like it, unfortunately. But that's a tale for another day. Anyway, you're the boss. Act like it. Read a book on it. I don't know how to tell you, but you cannot win this war by sitting on the sidelines, standing on the sidelines, or sitting up in the bleachers in the nosebleed section. That's where Trump's people are right now. They go to that rallies, they go to all those rallies, and they go home and go and beat their chest. Hey, I'm a patriot. No, you're not. You went to a rally. All I got to do is vote. Nope. That's what they're hoping. That's all you're going to do is vote because they got that already locked up. Why the hell do you think there's no real organized campaign for Joe Biden for re-election? They know they don't have to. Just like in 2020, Joe Biden didn't have a campaign. He sat in his basement. When he did go out, he had more reporters than voters. They knew then, just like they know now in 2024, they don't have to campaign. They got this thing locked up. And if Biden doesn't make it for whatever reason, they get somebody else in there, they won't have to campaign either. They're not even worried because they got this steal, the art of the deal. They had the art of the steal. And you all let it. And people who don't know the law, like the Trump organization, Trump team does not know our laws. He should have went into federal court before that election and sued to stop those early in-person votings and those mail-in votings. They're not legal on the federal level. But he didn't do it because he didn't know. Well, I don't have a way to show it to him, tell him. I have no contact with the guy that, doesn't know I exist. Any of you who do know him or know someone who does who would share the information, get it out to him. But fish or cut bait, people, or the consequences are going to be horrendous for you and yours, for tens of millions of people in this country. Next time, I'm going to talk some more about the Green New Energy deal. I want to dive into that again for the people who haven't heard it, who just started listening to my page, to my broadcast. And I'll give you a little hint. When Kamala Harris said the other day about the depopulation comment, that's what is known as a Freudian slip. That's what they intend to do. It wasn't, they're coming for us. Well, she meant to say pollution. No, she said what she meant to say. The goal is, and always has been with this, is to cut the population on this planet by at least half. Do some homework, people. Check out what Bill Gates has to say with this. Check out what the WEF, World Economic Forum, has to say and do with this. And that most world governments are in on it. We'll talk about that next time. Have a good evening, everybody. Like and share this, and any comments are always appreciated. Have a good night.